welcome
Okay.
to the podcast. So this podcast is called How Things Get Better podcast. It's my independent podcast. We speak about your life experiences, how things have gotten better over time. Share your experiences. There are lots of people who would want to, follow whatever you have been doing for quite some time. They've not reached that place, but they would want to. So you have gone through what you have done, like 2 lakh kilometers in your Royal Enfield. That's what I got that number before. People who have not even done 100 kilometers in the Royal Enfield, they want to reach that point of hitting like 1,000 kilometer mark. They want to go to the mountains. They want to go around the city and the country. They can pick up experiences that you have, learn how they can get better at the art of riding around in groups of people. And the idea is just for you to share experiences and help people on how things can get better for them. So welcome first of all. The second part here is we have Sundarsh with us. He and I myself are from Pehchaan. You must be very well aware of Sundarsh should be co-hosting with me because this is titled as Voices of Pehchaan. We would want any host or guest who has been involved with Pehchaan to come here and talk about the experiences, how we could set a platform for you to grow as well. So yeah, welcome. Glad to have you on board here.
Welcome, Sharoon.
Thank you. Thank you, Sun.
All right. So how have things been going? The last time we had the experience, it was more about understanding you, what you have done. It was like it was like a 1 to 2 hour session on the different aspects of riding. It was like in closed space, and it was more to get a feel of you, right? What I'm really excited about, and I'm already going to sign up for, is that that ride that we're going to do
Switching gears.
this what on 30th,
This
right?
this month end,
This
yeah.
month, and I'm so excited. Like I've never, like this is perfect, right? So I've always wanted to do a bike ride, long bike ride. I think the longest I've done a bike ride is from Hebal to Whitefield. Okay, that's the longest, and I wanted to do a lot more. And I've always failed to take that first step, thinking, what if my bike goes, a little wrong? What happens if it rains? Should I always go alone? Should I go with someone else? I think all that question will be answered on 30th. I'm so excited for that. Firstly, so what about you? What do you think is going to happen through that experience? What are your first thoughts?
The first thoughts, I mean, say for example, like you, then I have a few friends who are interested to join. Similarly, they haven't ever gone on a long ride on their own bikes.
Yeah.
So they're all like, and this is like, say, technically not a long ride. This is just about, like, say, just a regular small short breakfast ride that we're going to do. Where because we are starting at a certain point of time, we'll be having lunch also on the way back. So that's what it covers. So this is like a teaser that you can just give to people so that they get introduced to the world of motorcycling. Like I can't just wake you up tomorrow and say, come, let's ride from here to Delhi or to Ladakh. Won't happen because your body is not prepared, your mind is not prepared. It's like how you take baby steps while you learn to walk. First you have to stand up, or you have to learn to crawl, then you learn to stand, then you learn to take baby steps, and then you walk, and then you gradually start to run. So what you're doing right now is basically crawling, riding around the city. So when you get to a short ride that you go on the highway, be it 150 kilometers or 200 kilometers, whatever you do, this is kind of baby steps that you're taking in that direction of wanting to be a rider who can scale up a few kilometers. It's not like as if I started off directly at doing 200, 500 kilometers or whatever. So we had this time when I was growing up, motorcycles weren't that easily be able to procure at home. So all I did was I used to cycle a lot, even back then. So then I graduated from a cycle to a motorcycle, and then the kilometers kind of kept on increasing. For me, this is my escape from the actual world. When I put on my helmet, have my gloves and riding gears on, I'm in a different zone altogether. That's like my space. So that's how I look at it. So every time I have an opportunity. So after we met, like 3, 4 months ago, I mean, I've been traveling extensively because of my job. But then whenever I got time, so I did a short ride to Pondicherry, which is one way about 350 kilometers. Then, like, I got back from Coimbatore yesterday, so that's about 400 kilometers one way. So I did those. And then usually there are a few friends with whom we catch up and we do short Sunday, Saturday rides whenever people are free. Because these are all things that we can just include. Suddenly, a Friday night or a Saturday night, you just get one random message saying, "Bro, let's catch up tomorrow and let's ride." So when it's this kind of a catch up message that comes, it's usually just to say, "Hey, hi, hello, let's just catch up, just do a small ride, walk up, hike up a small mountain, click nice photographs, come back, put up as Instagram stories, and then it's like kind of unwinding, you can call it. I mean, because anybody who gets a feel of a motorcycle, who knows, like this as a medium works for them. So instead of going out to party every Friday, Saturday night, you might just end up spending that money on fuel and traveling to some place. So if you know you're free on Saturday and Sunday, so from Bangalore, if you live in Bangalore, on a radius of about 100 to like say 500 kilometers, you have way too many places that if you travel every Saturday and Sunday, it will still take you about 10 years to cover all the places. Like every Saturday and Sunday, that's 520 weeks. I'm telling you, you will still not be done with places around Bangalore. That's how many places that's there around that. So no matter which highway you take on a Saturday morning, you will always see bikers. You can keep waving your hand. Everybody will wave back. Everybody will be happy to just come and talk to you. Like I've done so many rides where I might have left from home all alone, but on the way I just catch up with somebody and they're like, "Hey bro, we are riding. Do you want to join us?" I'm like, "Okay, fine, no problem." So and since see, I am at liberty to join and also to leave because I'm not like technically friends or I've not signed up to ride with them. So I just join until I'm having fun. I'm having fun. And the moment I feel okay, fine, this is not working, I just wave my hand, say, "Bro, I'm taking off," and I just push off. So yeah, the main thing is to understand the liberating feeling that you get from owning a motorcycle and knowing that you can just take off whenever you want to.
When did you start, Sharoon? What
Correct.
age were you at?
I, I was about 16 when I started riding motorcycles, like scooters and stuff. But then technically I got a license when I was like a learner's license for automatic scooters when I was 17. And by about 18, 19 is when I got my first motorcycle, a Yamaha RX. Rode that. That's almost 20 years ago. Been riding that and then eventually went to different places to study. So for times in between, never had any vehicle. But then once I got back to my corporate job in 2007, I picked up my Royal Enfield. So, no, sorry, 2011 I picked up my Royal Enfield. I've had that since then. In about 11 years, 12 years of constant traveling in between and all that. But every time I've had a chance to take the bike and go, I usually do about almost 700,000 kilometers and come back. Even a city ride for me, basically, if I just leave from home, catch up with a few friends, and come back, I would have usually done about 100, 120 kilometers in the city almost every day. Like going to work, a couple of meetings here and then, catching up with friends in the evening, and then coming home. Would be about 100, 120
So wait, you
kilometers.
had a corporate job in between?
Yeah, but yeah, I was working from about 2007 till about
And
2012.
what were you doing there?
I was selling insurance.
And what made you switch entirely? Well, this was, I mean, it seems like corporate was the aberration.
It's it was, I mean, that is something that you study and that's like a job that you just eventually get. But then over a period of time, I mean, I should say that it took me longer than it should have. It took me about 5.5, 6 years to actually realize that okay, fine. You're getting the money, you're living the life, but is this the life that you really want to live? That was a constant question that kept on hitting my head. Luckily, my dad and mom, they were not, what do you say, completely against the idea. My mom was always supportive. So she was like, okay, fine. If you find something that's more interesting and appealing to you, please by all means go and take it up. So that's when I moved to the mountains. Was in Manali for a bit. So would just take people on rides to the Himalayan mountains every now and then. So that's how I've scaled those mountains multiple times. I've done most parts of Leh, Spiti, Zanskar, gone everywhere in that mountain. Almost all of Himachal. The last time I did this was in 2021. Yeah, so I rode from Bangalore to the mountains. From there, I went to Calcutta. From there, I went to Sikkim, came back to Calcutta, and then came back home. In about 58, 59 days, I guess, I did about 12,000 kilometers. So that's again with the liberty of just having my bike
Wait, that's mountains you said, right?
and
2 months
the
and
freedom.
12,000 in the mountains?
No, no, all
Okay.
around Bangalore, Kashmir, Kolkata, Sikkim, Kolkata, and back to Bangalore. It's
Loop.
like a
Yeah.
all India ride. Yeah, I just couldn't go to the Northeast because it was too much. It was almost about 2 months and had to come back home. So I just came back home. Yeah.
Crazy.
Otherwise, yeah, this has always been something that's like what do you say? It's like a way of life for me. Like if I don't do a motorcycle ride for quite some time, it kind of starts annoying me or eating me from inside. So yeah, even in between work nowadays, because traveling is something that I love and I have a travel job. So in spite of getting to travel so much, at times it becomes difficult when I can't sit on my bike and go anywhere. So about, I think 2 weeks ago, Kawasaki did an event here in Bangalore, which was like say in Big Rock Dirt Park. That's about 60, 70 kilometers from here. This was an event where Kawasaki let us register for a very low amount of money, and they would let us ride all their dirt bikes that are going to be made available in India soon. So they are there right now, but it's too expensive. So they're looking at ways where they can get it somehow for everyone in India. It was a nice experience. I got to ride the 112cc, the 130cc, the 230, the 250, and the 450cc. I got to ride like 5 bikes. It was insane. It was like one of my first experiences on a proper dirt track. Like I've always ridden here and there. So one, I've never, like what do you say, raced for money. For me, biking has purely been something that I do just out of my liking and passion for just being able to travel on my own. See, one thing when you become somebody who travels a lot, you have to shed a lot of inhibitions. There are certain ways of life. There are certain parameters that you always had when you were traveling as a kid because that's how your family got you. So like things like I want a super comfortable bed to sleep. I need the washroom to be ultra super clean. These are things you can never expect once you leave the comfort of your house. So there are days when I have slept in petrol bunks where we have just slept next to the toll plaza because we are tired. So I know if I ride anymore, probably I'll just crash into something and die. It's better. Open your sleeping bags, put a tarpaulin sheet, put all your valuables inside the sleeping bag, zip it up and sleep. No problem. So we can't, again, it is everyone for themselves. So each
Yeah,
one
yeah.
has their own priority. I mean, people with a lot of money, even now when they go to Ladakh, they will start throwing their money around and say, oh, book me a great property, book me a five-star property. I mean, there are no five-star properties on the road. You have to take care of your health. You might have all the money in the world, but if you cannot drink alcohol, you cannot drink alcohol. If you drink like 2 glasses of whiskey, then you probably will have to drink 5 liters of water in that mountain, and you can't drink 5 liters of water because otherwise you dehydrate, and the next day you just can't move. No matter how crazy your body is, alcohol actually does not help in the morning unless you're coming back. Then if you fall ill also, it's a little okay because you're just on your way back. Otherwise you will just miss out on a few days of travel where you just be puking, severe splitting headaches, so those kind of things. Otherwise it's more of like how you tune yourself to what you're going to do. It's like you're going to go into the jungle for a hike, so you have to be prepared for everything that comes along with it. Like somebody who's a wildlife photographer who shot that perfect pic of the kingfisher touching the water, like diving this straight. It took him about 1 lakh clicks, if I'm not wrong, to get that one photo. So imagine the number of days he would have stood inside water with that camera on. It could have been months, years, God knows. But that's the kind of dedication or what do you say, adjustments you will have to do with this kind of travel or
Makes
this
sense.
kind of passion.
Understood. So, is it fair enough to draw a line saying that if you have to travel a certain number of kilometers to a certain distance, you cannot do it with a casual mindset or a casual biker mindset? There has to be, can we draw a difference between casual bikers and people who are really wanting to get into biking? Because it's a mindset shift, right? Everything we spoke about is more of a mindset shift. Not possible for me.
Exactly.
I can't go from here to Gokarna thinking that I will be sleeping next to a toilet. I'm not ready for that. I'm not ready for that. So it's mindset shift. Like, do you agree with that?
Yeah. So first things first, you have to put safety ahead of anything and everything when you're on the motorcycle. Because like everybody believes, you get hit, there is every chance of you dying. Because you don't have a closed shell or anything protecting you. Right. So having said that, and you have to mentally prepare yourself before anything else. Your body might not be ready to take the beating for you to go from here to Gokarna. I have done that twice. It rains, it pours, cats and dogs on that road, and I hate doing that road because the roads are slippery, and then you have these huge snakes that come on the way in Agumbe, and those are things that I really don't enjoy. So I don't do that belt too much. But say if you are planning, say probably in November if we have time and we get to ride to Goa, okay, and we're going to do Goa. So Goa is about 650, 700 kilometers depending where you're living in Bangalore. So now when you have to do the 700 kilometers, you can either do it in one go, which usually is what I have been doing. But once when we had friends who have not done 700 kilometers, it's too much for them, we have broken down the journey. Probably around 300, 350 kilometers, somewhere near Hubli, Dharwad, we have taken a break, slept through the night, got up the next day, and then ridden to Goa. See, there is nothing hard and fast unless you're running on a time trial or a schedule that you have fixed for yourself. So that's why every time you are doing a bike ride and you put a schedule for yourself, always have at least 1 day backup. At least 1 day. So that if you're dead, tired, sleepy, your bike is broken down, whatever, you will have that 1 day in your calendar that helps you fix it and move on.
Did you feel like a transition from calling yourself a casual biker to a professional biker? Like, is there a transition, and what are the aspects that fit into that?
See, the only transition is that before, before I started riding so much, I never knew the importance of safety gear. Like literally, no. I had a very regular helmet,
Hmm.
probably some cheap gloves or whatever that I was wearing. And I used to wear shoes all the time. But then once I started riding, meeting more people from the community, and then I started talking to people, discussing. And that's how I understood, okay, why you should get a certain helmet, why you should have certain gloves, why a riding jacket, why a riding pant, and why riding boots, and what all small, small things you need to do to the bike to make it suit your
Hmm.
riding style. See, you can buy a motorcycle, you go test ride, they probably give you 5 kilometers to ride. You come back and you say, okay, fine, I want this bike. But the moment you take that bike on a 500-kilometer ride or a 1,000-kilometer ride, and then you come back and then you will definitely realize that this bike is
Got
not
it.
for you.
So when you
That's why
Would,
when
would you
any of
say
my
selection
friends,
of the right bike and right safety equipment is one step of transitioning into long?
so I'll tell you the first step is to know your budget for the bike, right? And in that budget, you have to include safety gears as well. You can't say like my budget to buy a bike is 10 lakh and then I'm going to wear the old Vega helmet and ride around. Because on a bike that costs 10 lakhs, the speeds that you're going to be doing
Hmm.
are going to be quite high. So you need to have all the safety gears the day you're going to pick up the motorcycle from the showroom.
Makes sense.
So usually what people do, like say I have everything. So even if I'm going to upgrade my bike, I still have everything that can take the beating from the upgraded bike. But most people don't have that.
Got it.
So it's usually how to choose your bike. So now there are a lot of different aspects. So some people like to sit upright,
Of
some
course.
people like to like
Ergonomics
sit on
all
a
could be different
racing
based
spec.
on.
Yeah, so each person has their own style. I mean, I know people who've sat on KTM RC 390s and Yamaha R3s and done Kanyakumari to Kashmir, R15s also. And then I know people who've done it on Royal Enfields. I know people who've done
Pulsar.
it on your unicorns, Pulsars. Yeah, the 220s. The 220s has a crazy group. And then when the NS 200 came up, I think they were called Masked Bandits or
Oh,
something.
there's actually a
That was a
group called
group's
that
name.
who tried this.
Yeah, yeah. So there are different groups for different
Okay.
segments of bikes. So like if you look at Harley, Harley has Harley Owners Group, which is called Hog, and then like Ducati has their own. Then your BMWs have their own groups. So some of these company groups or company rides are company sponsored as well.
Got it.
Like Royal Enfield has different groups in different cities and different places. Like 10 of them get together at a service center, they'll create a riding group and they'll start riding together. So right now you have the new CB350s from the Honda, they have a different group. The Hero X Pulse, which is usually off-road biking and stuff, so they have a different group. The KTM 390s, they have a different group. Your Interceptors have a different group. And then there are these people, like my friends with whom I've been riding for the last 12 years. So they have a group where anybody who has a bike above 150cc can just basically join them and ride with them. So they do a ride every
Hmm.
month. And I think they've done close to about 200 rides if I'm not
And
wrong.
how does the ecosystem work?
So
Like, let's say there's a young, passionate biker, 25 years of age. What is the where does the money come from, and what is the ecosystem like? What's going on within the biking ecosystem? Where if someone wants to pursue it as a long-term passion, what happens with them? How does it start? Where does it go? What is the peak point?
there is nothing like it depends on what kind of biking you want to cater to. Like if you're going to be somebody who's going to be an expert in the Himalayan mountains, you better get there and save up enough money to be able to do those trips at least once or twice. And then you will have to touch base with almost all the travel companies sitting there saying, okay, I will be here stationed in Manali or in Chandigarh or in Delhi. If you have any groups, let me know. And then you negotiate on the price per head and you just take people and go. Or else, if you're going to be down here in the south, you set up a small company and then start organizing rides. I mean, money might not come in eventually. Like on the day one, but eventually money will
Mm-hmm.
start coming in. Like once you have a set of 20, 30 people who just love how you set up a ride, then you will always have those 20, 30 people signing up for almost every program that you curate because they trust in your ability to organize a program. Because it's easy to, like, say, announce a program, but to execute the program is the most difficult part. And it's not easy handling 15, 20, 30 egos at the same time.
That's true.
So, like, say, why a bike ride becomes challenging? Now, say 10 people have paid the exact same amount of money. One guy meets with an accident, and you have to stop, cater to that accident, ensure the guy is in the hospital, and then either you close the ride and get back, or you
Mm-hmm.
continue with the ride. Right now, this is a very tricky situation. There are people, in spite of the accident, they'll be like, okay, let him find his way, he will go back, or let him go to the hospital somehow. Let's continue riding.
That's
It has happened.
insane. That's
Yeah. So the people are of all different forms and whims
so
and fancies. So
the
it's
safety and
it's like
sincerity towards it
there are
is
a
the
lot of
key point if you wanna get into this work.
exactly. So when so if that becomes like say when we organize a ride, if we give that importance to it, then people will be like, okay, fine, these guys are serious. They will not leave us behind and go. An indemnity bond is an
Still,
indemnity
yeah.
bond, but still, if something is to happen to somebody, we are not going to leave them on the road to die or for anything to happen. They might have to take care of all the financial implications, that is one. But as a human, we need to be there, ensure they're safe in a hospital or back home or however it is. So this has been a little tricky when it comes to a lot of people. So like when you're doing the ride to the mountains. So imagine you have to travel from Bangalore to Ladakh. You take a flight from here to Delhi, which a round trip should be minimum 15, 20,000 rupees. So you factor the 20,000 rupees. Then you're renting a bike from Delhi. Or if you have shipped your bike from here, that is another 15,000. So that's 35,000 rupees that you've already spent just to reach Delhi with your bike. From there, so if you don't have your helmets, riding gears, whatever in place, probably another 20,000 rupees spent, 20, 30,000. So that itself is about 50, 60,000 rupees that you've already
Right.
spent on the ride before you even started riding the bike for that particular ride. So then what happens is the moment on the second day or the third day there is an accident, somebody would be like, I don't care, I have spent so much money, I need to do this.
Mm-hmm.
They'd be like, you're my lead, take me and go. Let them figure out their own way. It is his fault that he didn't ride properly and met with an accident.
Mm.
So we have so many tricky situations that come up, and then we have to convince them. So you're running one day behind schedule. So then for every maybe stay that you've already paid, you might have to pay some more. You might just end up spending a little more money on food. So whatever cost you approximated, those costs will increase, which is okay for many people, but it is not okay for even more people because not everybody has that much
True.
money
But I also feel that
to
the
blow.
essence of any group activity which involves a little adventure and a little risk, the essence of it lies in this, right? Staying together and with, otherwise even the
Yeah, with the essence, yeah, that's where the essence lies. But then,
yeah, it's
I mean,
unfortunate. Yeah, it's
these are such these are
yeah,
such tricky situations where you will just not realize that you've
correct.
just become selfish.
You don't even realize that. Yeah, you feel that
So
it's
these
it's
guys,
okay. It makes sense at that point of time.
huh, genuinely, they might be very good humans also. But just that at that point of time, they're just wondering if I don't do this trip now, I can probably never arrange this money again to do this trip.
Yeah, it could be both. Like even the organizing committee could have like a backup to retrieve the person who has met with an accident. I think
Yeah. So again, so when you add all of that, the cost of the ride also keeps increasing. Like I have done a ride where I had a doctor with me all the time. I had a tempo traveler traveling with me with extra space. I had two guys sitting in the tempo and just traveling in case an accident happens. They can ride that bike and get it somewhere. So all those things
Got it.
add up to a cost. So when you look up rides in the Himalayan mountains, they have rides starting at about 15,
Okay.
20,000 rupees. It goes up to about 2.5 lakhs per
Got it.
head.
Okay, so the amenities like
So the guy who's
mechanic
charging
and a
you two and
doctor
a
and
half,
maybe an ambulance, like various amenities will right.
exactly. Whatever amenities you give, things keep on increasing. And then there are people who know what they're paying for and they are okay to pay 2 lakhs.
And over the last 15 years or so, how has the landscape in India changed? Like in terms of the demography that you see when you go on rides, like let's say 15 years back, and now, for example, do you see more women? Do you see what's changing?
Uh, like the age group. Before, when I used to ride, usually I used to see people around 30 plus as the ones who would
Mm-hmm.
be doing rides because they were the ones who have gone on to at least middle senior level management, have the money to buy a bike and to spend it over weekends
Sharon, just a
back then.
just a second.
But
I
right
think you are
now,
slightly off the frame. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so the what do you say? The age group of people would be about 30 plus because they had the money to spend and the resources. But right now, kids who have got their first jobs, they're being
Mm-hmm.
paid really well. And they either get a motorcycle from home or from their first salary, they pay the down payment and they book their motorcycles. So they are also good to go. So what happens is right now, a lot of kids also started riding. And like you mentioned, there are a lot of women who have got into riding. Some who are as old as 20, 25, 30. And then there are a lot of women who are in their 40s who have gotten back to riding.
Okay.
Like they used to ride a scooter when they were in college, and then they got married, had kids, whatever, got busy with that. And now they were passionate about biking, so they've gotten back to biking. So you see that. And then, like on the road, you can say the infrastructure of the roads
Of
have
course.
improved
Yeah,
quite a lot. Like the first time I went to Leh was in about
yeah. Mhm.
2008. And in 2008, there were literally no roads. I think Manali to Leh took me about 7 or 8 days.
Okay.
There were days when I have done only 50
Okay.
kilometers and my entire
I
body
think
would
now
ache.
it's like a 2 day
Like
or
you are
3 day thing,
crossing
right? One day you can close it.
one day.
Okay. Nice.
You can ride from Manali to
Mm-hmm.
Leh in one day. And provided you know how to ride a motorcycle properly. Because those
Yeah, yeah,
mountains are very tricky. So the thing is,
yeah,
overconfidence
yeah.
will definitely kill you. So you need to know where you can navigate through what turn at what speeds. And then you have to be having a limit that you put on yourself and just casually ride through.
Do you do rides? Do you take people on rides in Bangalore, around Bangalore, or in India right now?
No, I stopped doing that quite a long time ago because I do that for work usually.
Okay.
So I'm taking people and traveling around the world.
Mm.
And like I mentioned, this at one point of time I used to make money out of it, but then I kind of was what do you say? Let that part of it at least remain something that keeps my sanity alive.
Mm.
So and then when Sandarsh and Vivek came up with the idea, when Vivek came up with the idea, I was like, okay, fine. If I can help more people get into biking,
Mm.
I'm happy doing that. And I have a lot of friends who want to start, just like you, who want to start. Well, bro, I have a small bike. Let me take me somewhere.
Yeah.
Or when you go, please let me know. I would like to join. So those kind of things, those kind of people are there. So that's what I'm looking
So
to
tell
do.
us about your current job though. Like what
And then let's.
you've been traveling like crazy is what we hear.
Okay.
Yeah.
I work as an international tour guide So I travel around the world with people and bring them back. So my role is like I get an itinerary. I pick up people from an airport in India, take them around, show them around to the dot with the itinerary, and bring them back in one piece.
And this
That's
is
our goal.
really like on bikes, right?
No, no, no. This is like a regular, like your group travel thing. So I usually travel with corporates, but then certain times I have a group of families that travel and I have to take them around. So yeah,
Have you tried
it's been
this?
fun. I've been
Have
to,
you tried whatever Sundar said, right? Like, let's say there's a group of people who would want to travel somewhere, but and bike there. Like you rent bikes and you go around instead of just going around walking, showing people places. Bunch of people going renting bikes. Is that something on your mind?
yeah, I've been wanting to do that. So the places that we've already been discussing, some of my friends went and did this in Thailand. I was in Sri Lanka when I've ridden a bike all around Sri Lanka. I used to be working there way back in 2012-13. So Thailand is one, Vietnam is one, Sri Lanka is another, Turkey is one, Morocco is another place. Maybe parts of Europe, I'm not sure. But Scotland, maybe. Ireland, definitely, if possible. When Isle of Man is happening, if I can get there, then let me just ride around the track. Not at
That's
crazy
sweet.
speeds, but whatever we can do. Yeah. So, I mean, it's always there. I mean, I've been reading about Kazakhstan of late, and Kazakhstan, they say, is what Switzerland was about 150 years ago. It's still that beautiful. And I don't know, Sanders, this might excite you. A return ticket to Almaty from Kazakhstan is less than 10,000 rupees. Like Delhi, Almaty, Delhi is less than 10K. I don't know what dates my friends were checking, but they found 3,700, 3,700
Crazy.
something.
No, but how's the like the bike renting scenario? Like, is it easy? Is it difficult? How about the
So
licensing
the
and all of that?
yeah. So the first thing that we have to do is wherever we have a license in India, we need to get to the RTO and ask them to endorse our driving license and make it an international driving license permit. So once you get that endorsement, that works as an international driving license in most countries,
Yeah.
provided you have a tourist
Correct.
visa.
Yeah. So that even
Like in
adventure
certain
biking,
countries,
or maybe not adventure biking, but regular biking can be done. Dirt biking and that.
yeah, they will see what license you have. Based on that, they will give you a bike. So usually you will get your 300, 400 cc ka bikes, which are more than enough. Like if you go to Europe, you can ask for an Africa Twin. You can ask for your, I don't know, Triumph Rocket or your Ninja 1000 cc's. They might give it to you. But trust me, we will not even know how to ride that bike. Because the throttle response is so much. You do this much, you're already at
Understood. You
140
need a
on a
bike which
Kawasaki.
is more up your alley. Kind
It's, it's something that you can handle. Like I've been riding the 390 Duke here. I'm pretty sure all around Europe I can find a 390 Duke. And I will feel at home on that bike. Now, trust me, all over Europe, you can also find the Royal Enfield Interceptors.
Okay.
Yeah, it's sold like crazy. It's the cheapest 650 twin engines in the world.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's actually very well made, is what they also claim. Like people abroad telling me that this bike is brilliant and it's worth the money is what I've heard from people in Norway, in Sweden, in Denmark. Where else did I meet somebody? Amsterdam. All these guys on the road on a Royal Enfield Interceptor. The bike was manufactured in India and sent there.
That's interesting. Wow.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
So the quality of motorcycles again. So it depends on what you can ride. Like I can't say. So even on the Kawasaki event, I was most comfortable on the 130 or the 112cc bike, not the 230, 250 or the 450. They were definitely more powerful. But then this bike felt more like nimble and easy to handle. Like the 450, every time you throttle up, you are being thrown behind. And that's not a feeling that you want on a track. You want to be somebody who is like in control. It's like you're a horse jockey and you want the horse to be under control and not the horse to like throw you off it all the time. So,
So yeah, so have you considered, like, you told a couple of countries that you would want this experience of riding
Yeah.
bikes around, taking people on rides. Would you not do that, like as a tour operator of your own agency? What's your ideas on that?
I mean, I really want to do it, but right now I'm just giving it some more time because of all the struggles that we all had to do during COVID and everything that went along with it. So it's not something that I can jump into right now. But yeah, if the opportunity presents and I can organize something around it, I'll
All you need
definitely
is
take
10
it up.
people who are
Understood.
ready to go with you. That's all, right?
Yeah, we'll surely figure out a way. That's not a difficult thing to do right now. So about 10, 15 people should be able to manage if we can get the logistics right. I mean, arranging for that should not be a
Amazing.
problem.
What are these logistics? Yeah, what kind of logistics are you speaking about?
Getting motorcycles for everyone, getting a place to stay for everyone, getting the visas, air tickets, everything. I mean, you have to look at the whole thing. Say if somebody books an air ticket today, he might get it for an X price. Somebody books it later. For him, the whole package will just become expensive because he didn't book the flight ticket at the right time. So things like that. So you have to put it up all in advance. Then food can be a major issue. You have no idea the kind of people from India that go outside and start cribbing for rotis, puris, and parathas.
That's true. That's true. Vegetarian here.
So see, I travel with a lot of Jain people. Oh, you can't imagine where you are and the kind of request that comes. You're like, sir, are you really crazy? I mean, do you really think that it could be? It's like me coming to your house and asking for chicken biryani.
Swiggy. I would
So
do Swiggy.
yeah, but you can't do Swiggy
No,
everywhere.
I'm kidding.
I was
That's
just
true.
I was just checking the
So
sales of Royal Enfield in Europe and
no,
so
but
sorry.
then
I was checking the sales of Royal and some staggering data points. Like it's insane. In India, uh, they their growth has been 31%, whereas in Italy, Germany, Greece, and Poland, hear these numbers out. Okay, in Italy it's 107%. This is 2022 figures. In Germany, it's
true, true.
44% growth. In Greece, it's 301% growth. And in Poland, it's 136% growth. This is just 2022 sales growth of Royal Enfield in these five countries.
Yeah, so the thing is, once you make a
Hmm.
good machine, then there are people who are going to buy it everywhere. I mean, why do you buy a BMW here? Because somebody rode it in Europe, somebody certified it, and then the quality checks passed on. It comes to India, they price it at whatever they want, and they sell you the bike. Why do I have a KTM? Because I mean, I love the brand for what they have done throughout their life. That's the only company in the world which manufactured dirt bikes first and then came to the MotoGP circuit to make racing bikes on track. And they've won the Dakar approximately around 20 times until now. And that's how good the KTM engine is. I mean, I'd blindly trust my life with a KTM engine. Royal Enfield, not so sure, because when I got my bike, the bike was the only available bike in that segment. Until there was any competition from different other bikers, these guys never even bothered to change a nut or a bolt in the bike.
Yeah, which is
If you look the
hmm.
classic 350 until about 2019, which is about 8 or 9 years since I owned the bike, they only changed the color pattern of the bike, the stickering of the bike, and kept selling the same bike.
Why change something which is not broken?
No. It is the brand name. The bike was
Okay, that way.
shit. For that money, I think I would have been better off if I got a Honda Unicorn and kept all the money with myself. Because the Honda engine wouldn't have broken up. I have spent at least 3, if not 4 times the cost of the bike on the bike to keep it running till date.
Good.
And those are not the kind of service
Yeah.
costs that you expect on a motorcycle. Like on the KTM, the service costs have been really less. For people who have had other bikes, like people who have owned Suzuki's, their service costs are pretty less. So again, we have to look at all of these parameters when we choose a bike, when we want to buy a bike, and then the most important factor is if you like say you want to go on a long ride and you are like, okay, fine, I'm going to buy a bike and then I'm going to go on a long ride. Bad idea. First, rent a bike or borrow a bike from a friend. Go on 2, 3, 4 long rides and then come back and then see if you enjoy doing a long ride or you just enjoy the idea of a long ride. Two different things. Because once you spend the money and buy the bike, you want to resell it after 2 days, probably somebody will buy it from you for less than 50, 70,000 rupees. You're going to lose out on a lot of money.
So now you have KTM
Because
Duke,
that's a
right?
depreciation. I have a Duke 390 and the Royal Enfield Classic 350.
Which one are you coming on for the 30th experience?
Mostly the Classic, I'm not sure.
Any suggestions?
Because I mean, we're not good.
Any bike suggestions that you would have, or just people can just come in? Like it doesn't really matter, right?
Any bike that's like at least 150cc, because if people are doing 60 or 80 kilometers, it helps you keep the same speed. But otherwise, we are not going to be doing top speeds anyway. We'll be doing 60, 80. So yeah. But whoever is coming, if you're getting your bike, I just recommend to go to the mechanic and get your chain, nuts, bolts, everything checked.
Yeah,
Once.
that's for sure. I'm not coming with the quality I have right now. I've already planned this out. I'm excited. I'm so excited for it. Like genuinely.
So don't go and get it done on the 29th.
I'm getting it this week.
No. Get it done at least like say 5-7 days before your ride every time, because once your bike is serviced and you think everything is fixed, and then when you ride it for like 2-3 days, you will know if something is missing.
Understood.
And you can go back to the mechanic, get it fixed before your ride.
Understood.
It's always important. Otherwise, if you get it fixed one day before and you take off for the ride, and then he's probably missed something, and then on the way you have to keep looking for a mechanic all the time.
Understood. Is there any like safety equipment I need to carry? How do I go about this? Like, what if it's raining these days? So do I need to carry a jacket?
A raincoat, probably yes, but yeah, a helmet, and then if you have other riding gears like your jacket and your glove, wear a nice hard sole boot.
Okay.
Yeah, just don't wear any regular shoes and come, because it's not going to help.
Understood. Hard sole boot. All right.
Like your like your hiking boots or anything,
Got it.
or you have these proper boots that we wear.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Something like that. Yeah. Get something like that, leather boots, and just wear them and come.
Very nice.
Otherwise, pretty much, I mean, like I said, this is just a regular ride, so don't have to worry, just come. And then gradually, when you are going to go on a longer ride, you will have educated yourself and you will want to be doing like something that is going to be more safer for you.
Understood. Sandesh, you have any closing questions? We could go ahead with those questions and then.
I think I've got my load of questions done. How about you, Vinay?
Yeah, I've had a lot of content, man. Like I've got so much information. I don't know how to process it. It's gonna take. I'll be listening to this content like 2-3 times already while processing this video, so I'm pretty sure it'll embed in my mind. So thank you so much, Sharoon. And we're gonna pass this message on to the people who want to join us on the 30th. Like you said, there is no experience required. It's just, we should just consider it as like a ride outside of town, just to start and get your expertise. Listen to your expertise and pick it
It's
up from there,
just
right?
so if any of your friends ask you, what is this? Why is this right? Just tell them it's an experience to get you to begin to go on bike rides.
Understood.
So just that much कि मतलब एक बाइक राइड करना है तो कैसे शुरू करना है. And from here, what all we can do, we can discuss on all of it. There are 10 people who show up, and then you just say, okay, guys, I think we should do a New Year's party and go karna. Let's go on a ride. Just start off a discussion, and then people will be like, okay, take it. Post it, take 20, 10, 20 people, go on a ride, celebrate, come back. So every time you do one ride, you effectively try and prepare for the next ride.
Understood.
And then you will never realize, like, trust me, all your biking friends who you make, like the good friends that you make, everyone will be an acquaintance to begin with, but eventually when they all become friends, these are friends who will be friends for life. Like, you can always call your biker friend up anytime that you want, because you know that they're going to be awake and they will pick up that call.
Understood.
Like, yes, what happened? I'm stuck here, help me. Okay, give us half an hour, we'll figure a way out, and help will come to you.
Such a close-knit community. Like, if you go on a couple of rides, you get that closeness.
So like they, I mean, it's not with everybody. That's why I said there are a select few who will become really good friends. So it's like how they tell you in the army. Correct me if I'm wrong, Sandesh. It's not about our flag or their flag or whatever. It's about the guy standing on your left and the guy standing on your
That's
right.
the only difference.
You got to have their back, they got to have your back. It's
That's
as
the only
simple as that. So when
patriotism
you
which
are a
works.
biker,
Rest everything is, yeah.
exactly. That's what I said. It is never about our flag or their flag. It's always about the guy standing on your right and the guy standing on your left. You got to cover them. So when you're on a bike ride, if you remember this and you go as a team and you take care of everyone around you, everyone will take care of you all throughout your life. You imagine saving somebody's life. You imagine taking somebody to a place which is the highest motorable road in the world. You imagine the landscape that person is going to see. For perspective, Jungfrau, which is the highest mountain peak in Europe, is at about 11,500 feet. The highest motorable road in India right now is Umlingla. Umlingla is about 19,500 feet, plus minus. Umlingla is higher than Mount Everest base camp. Imagine riding a motorcycle there. Imagine taking somebody there, showing them that place and then bringing them back. That is a memory that they cannot delete from their head even if they want to.
That's a nice way of putting it.
So those are the kind of experiences. Slowly, and those people, they'll never forget you. Like, even if they want to, they cannot. Because that one memory is more than enough to bring about everything that has happened throughout. And these are all places that people usually dream of going. And they're super thankful to somebody who helped plan it, who helped execute it, or who helped doing the whole thing. So that's why I have so many friends from around the world who are always... I usually get my Merry Christmas and Happy New Year messages without fail. And they all tell me, hey Sharoon, we've still been saving up money for our next trip to India. Do let us know. I'm like, oh, let me know whenever you're coming. I'll try and stay in India, or we can plan a trip or do something. So it's always like that. So it's never about anything else. But it's like the brotherhood that there is a code. It's not like something that you can define, but it's just understood.
That's what it means. Yeah. Awesome. This was amazing, Sharoon. Thank you so much.
Likewise, I had fun too.